last week I finished Lengths of Sweden race, and because I took a very long time before the race looking into the setup and improving it, I thought I'd do a quick rundown on everything, because I was really happy with how it turned out. The bike is a Rose Pro Cross 2019. It's an aluminium frame with a carbon fork and full Ultegra group set. As for the bags, I have the Apidura 2-liter top tube bag and the Tailfin top trunk bag, and then I have an Apidura 1.2-liter food pouch in here. Additionally, I took VD Teco Move Fanny pack, and that's it for the bag. For the gear, I used to carry my phone in the jersey pockets. I had actually 2 pairs of bib shorts, one is in there, the other one I would wear. It's ASOS Equipe RS S9. Then I had 1 jersey, a pair of socks, cycling gloves, rain cap, and helmet and sunglasses. A pair of bike shoes with proper insoles, and those are actually the only shoes that I had on the ride. So now as for the bags, what was in there? In the fanny pack, I got this so I could carry all the valuable items on myself and wouldn't have to get them out of the bags every time I left the bike somewhere. So I had a pen where the brevet card would go in here. I had my credit cards and an ID card and some cash and my passport. And then in the rest of the bag I would have some wet wipes, some sunscreen. The initial idea was to carry all the hygienic products like chamois cream and after ride cream and sunscreen in like plastic bags like this. It worked for the chamois cream, but I ran out of sun cream super quickly, and it also didn't work for the after ride cream, so I had this in here as well. Some hand sanitizer, some lip balm, my key to the house, and then I would have these pills, which are multivitamin pills of Vivo Life, especially on long days where I don't get proper food all day. So I think it's not a bad idea to get at least the most essential nutrients. And then I have the remote for the bike alarm in here that I carry. So I put that in the top trunk bag, and as soon as someone would touch the bike, it would start. Okay, on the front I have the Apidura food pouch, which is great with the nets on the side, so you can keep your wrappers and stuff. I have a bag where I can put in some sweets or crackers or whatever I pick up at the grocery store. Then I have some electrolyte powder. I actually prepared a lot of bags of sugar and electrolyte mixture, which I would carry in here. I will show that later. But just to be on the safe side, the electrolyte powder, I took a bit more of it. And then I would have like fruit and nut bars in here on the bottom. Yeah, and that's basically it for the food pouch. And it would even be good, like even with the food inside here, I could fit like a sugar drink, a soft drink or something on top of here. Staying at the front of the bike, I have the profile design arrow bars, which are really important during long rides. I feel like I couldn't do it without them. I have the element bolt, which is on the Profile Design Aero Bridge. Important thing is that if you're riding all day, you need access to the USB charging port, and I have a long USB cable which I run from the top tube back, which goes in here. Same goes for my front light. It's a Bosch & Müller X1 Space, which I have on this 3D printed mount here, and then it's just a GoPro mount which came with a computer mount that I have for the bike. And also that one I can charge while I ride, so I have access to the port on the back, which is important. But I only rode on one night, and then the battery was actually enough. I think this is for the front of the bike. Yeah, on the bottom I have the Son Dynamo hub. The wheels are just riding along Mahi wheels. I have 40mm deep and on the front and 50mm deep on the back. It's the first big trip I did with the carbon rims, and it worked really well. I really like the dynamo setup. The initial intention was to sleep in the tent every night during the trip, and then it would have been really good to be self-sufficient with that, so I don't have to carry a charger in everywhere. In the top tube bag I have most of electronic stuff. First of the wheels I'm running tubeless, so I have this tubeless plug. I have the charger for my Whoop heart rate sensor. Aeroshocks, Aftershocks, Aeropacks headphones. And then I have the long USB cable, which I could charge the light or the computer. I have a power bank. Actually, I'm going from the dynamo into the power bank through the USB work. All the lights I have are not connected to the dynamo. I just switched to that, and so I'm running everything on the power bank. But I can recharge the power bank using the USB work, and that worked pretty well. Then in here I had this is an alarm, a spork, and then I had more USB cables. So one USB-C cable for my phone, another micro USB cable, and then the charger for the headphones. On top of that I had this Abus wire lock in there. For a brevet trip like the length of Sweden, I think both of these would not have been necessary, because at every stop where I was, there would always be a couple of bikes standing outside of the gas station, and I don't think anyone would have taken these. But if you're more on your own, and then I think these are, yeah, it's great to have these. And then in here I had the muck of dry and wet lube. Ideally you would have smaller, I think F100 is making like smaller portion size lubes, and then you don't have to put these two big bottles in there. But I had the space, so it was okay, and I have a cleaning rack in here as well. And that's it for the top tube bag. The bottles, I have a different setup where I travel with like a 5.3 liter frame bag, and then I'm only able to fit really small bottles. But because the weather was really good, I didn't need all that much clothing, and I was able to leave it out and take two 950 milliliter bottles. And the stops were usually around 100 kilometers apart from each other, which I think works fine with these, and then you get a sugar drink at the gas station. More on that. Yeah, one downside to this top tube bag is these connections here. I did a lot of damage to my bibs with these, so I don't know why Apidura doesn't do it like this all the way, because these are a hazard for your expensive clothes. Alright, so on the back I have you are supposed to have two lights, so I have a a Cat-Eye Rapid X. There's a kinetic one which gets brighter when you stop, and then on the other side I have the Cat-Eye X3, I think it's called. Yeah, of course I have the Tailfin rack. The important thing for me was to be able to detach it. So when I would get to the campground in the night, I would just take this off the bike, and I have everything in here that I would need. So it has these stays on the top. Anything more important here? No. This is the first replacement part I took. Like, there were some bigger gravel parts, like heavy gravel, and I don't have as much experience with the tubeless and with the 28mm tires, so I took an extra tire. So we can get into the remainder of what I took for bike repair stuff. It was great that I could fit it all in here. It's basically this additional mount that Tailfin sells, and I just fit it with some zip ties, and in here. So I have additional rubber band for the lights, then a lot of tire patches, a reusable zip tie, multi-tool with the chain tool inside, one inner tube, tire levers, a lot of zip ties, pump with some electrical tape and duct tape wrapped around it, which worked great. I actually used some of that. And then I have the small plastic bag in which I have, let's see. So I have one quick link, actually another quick link, the derailleur hanger, and then I had some, actually don't know what these screws are for. These screws are for the cleats. Don't know why I have these. Maybe I'll remember and put it in the description. And then in here I had even more rubber bands, another inner tube, and then I have a piece of an old tire. I don't actually know if I could use this in the end, if it got a slash on the side or whatever, but I took it. And yeah, that's it. Then it's also important, I have a pair of nail scissors in here, so I would be able to cut these zip ties actually. Yeah, so the Tailfin rack was I think only the third trip I did with this, and it proved really well again. I don't want to go back to a seat pack. I had one bad experience with it where it just hopped off the rack. I don't know if it probably wasn't closed properly. It was quite a scary experience, and it even got some damage on here. But apart from that, it's like such a great experience, and you just click it in here. It's filled to the very top now, so it's a bit difficult to fit. But as soon as these are in, nothing will move here. I'm waiting for Tailfin to release like the extender that they have for the aero pack. So if this top back is connected to the stays here, then you can get an extender and you have more space below the saddle here. So I'm waiting for that, and I will upgrade, but it worked like that. This will fit 20 liters, I think. Because I would have to take it off the bike, I tried to not access this during the day at all. So one trick would be, here's a side pocket where you can actually access the entire content. So I would put my rain jacket accessible in here. And then I could even stuff it back in, or put it in a jersey pocket or whatever. And the other thing that I would have accessible here would be the backpack, which I used to go on grocery stores at night. and carry my dinner and breakfast basically. For everything else, I would access it to the top. Also has a side pocket here, but I didn't use it. I think you could put some paper, or it's not a lot of space in here. Maybe some tools. So this is how it looks from the top. Actually, the additional pairs of bib shorts, again, ASOS RS9, and an additional pair of socks, I would strap them to the top on the day so that they could dry. I really wanted to have that luxury of being able to wash the bibs at night and having fresh pair in the morning. And then, looking on the top, first thing you see is my sleeping setup. I learned that the hard way the first night with all the mosquitoes, that you really want the tent at the very top. So this is not a Nemo tent, this is my Nature Height Targar 1, and the entire tent body fits into this bag. Then I have the tent poles and pegs. Only take the pegs that you actually need, so that's the entire tent. Then I have a sleeping pack which is rated for 10 to 15 degrees. I think 15 degrees is the comfort rating, and it's from Decathlon, and it fits really tight in this bag. It's as compressed as you can get it. And then I have the Nemo Tensor sleeping mat, which has a good R value and is really light, and it's not as noisy as the Thermarest ones, so that's why I chose that. I have the repair kits for tent and sleeping pad in here as well. But I have an entire blog post on my sleeping setup and how I fit it in the bags, and also how I fit it in my previous bike setting setup. So if you're interested in all that stuff, I'll link it in the description. So the next thing I'd have in here is first aid kit. So I'd have some band-aids, some antiseptic cream, some Leukotape, a lot of just like band-aids and blister pads and whatnot, some nail scissors, and actually like a tick remover tool. And yes, that's that. Bar of soap, just take as much as you need. Actually, you see I took way too much. And this one I actually didn't get to use, but I was a bit afraid of. Initially I didn't plan on using these two bottles, and I got this water filter, which would have been like especially in the lakes in the north of Sweden, I think it would have been completely fine to use it, but I actually didn't need it, and it's a Katudden B3. And then we get to my bottle mixtures. I actually took 600 grams of these bottle mixtures, which is just maltodextrin, dextrose, and electrolyte powder. And I have a blog post on why I use these and how I and all the details that you need. But it was good to have these at hand to I think I had like 2 full bottles a day that I had as a backup, like if I didn't get anything in the stores. Same was for the fruit and nut bars. I had like 400 grams of these in the front pouch, and then I stocked these up from the back drop in the middle. Yeah. Next thing I have is a toothbrush, another toothbrush, and like a tongue cleaner. I realize that's a big luxury, but if you're eating sugar all day, then I think oral hygiene is like a really nice thing in the evening and the morning. And toothpaste tablets. Do take toothpaste tablets. They produce less waste, and also during bikepacking setups, like even the smallest tube of toothpaste you can get is much bigger than the exact amount of toothpaste tablet that you need. The last addition to my sleeping setup was this mountain equipment emergency bivvy. So basically it's like a rescue blanket, but in the form of a bivvy bag, so it's waterproof, and I slept in this during the last night when I didn't want to get some real sleep, but just like a 15-minute nap. I used this. In total, the plan was to tent every night because I didn't know how much distance I could cover, and I slept in a tent the first 2 nights. Then the third night was at the halfway point, which was at the hostel, so I slept there. Then at the cabin the next day, and then at the hotel the day after. And then the last night I just slept in the emergency bivvy. I got a towel. This is as small as I would go, and I think it's great because you can also use this to, if you don't get a real shower, you can get to a restroom and just wipe yourself down if you want to feel a bit cleaner. Next thing is some knee warmers. These would actually be great because I can pull them all the way to the socks, so they would cover my entire leg. Some soft shell gloves. Didn't know how cold it would be in the morning or evening, or even if it's slightly wet, they would be great. A base layer, a headband, which would even be, like, most of these clothes would also be great at night actually. And then I had these like soft shell arm warmers, arm sleeves. Also a bit rain resistant. A buff, which would also be great to pull over your eyes in the night because it didn't get dark. And then reflective vest. I actually didn't get to try these. I put them on the backdrop on the halfway point. These are supposed to be waterproof sealskin socks, and yeah, I would have actually needed them during the last night, but I improvised with some plastic bags which I put over my feet, and then I had wet feet for 12 hours anyways, but that's where these would have come in handy. And now we get to the kit, which is like kind of on bike, like a t-shirt and a pair of boxer shorts. I really wanted something that would be loose on the ass at night after having the bibs on all day. And then I have these Faudi rain pants. Used them during the last night when I rode in the rain. And I had these lying around, so I took them and it was great. And I also used them at night, but they are really white and not really aero, so I might upgrade there soon. And then I had for backup, which actually was great in the end, because I slept in the hostel and in hotels, the charger and a replacement light, which also has a GoPro mount, so it would just fit in front where the current light is. And then I have a random zip tie, and that's it. I have, for all the gear that I took on the bike, yeah, so the bike itself with the aero bars installed is like slightly under 10 kilograms. With all the bikepacking stuff, 2 liters of water in here and 1.2 kilograms of sugar mixture and food, the entire setup would be 22.5 kilograms. I have everything that is here listed in the link in the description, so you can just click there and maybe you can even like check your own boxes on what you would take and how much that would weigh. I actually weighed everything and then decided what would be worth taking, and I actually cut off a lot of stuff. But now with this setup there's nothing that I wish I would have taken but I didn't have, so this is like the most luxury that you can get. And on the trip you had the option to put a back 11.5 liter backdrop at the middle point. So in here I have had a spare chain, which I actually put on the bike already now. I had these really waterproof gloves because it was not quite clear how the weather would turn out after the halfway point. Sunscreen, but I had to buy some already the second day. I have another tire and an inner tube in here, another inner tube, And then basically again I had like, I put these for emergency because I didn't know where I would get these. So I had like a couple of these in here. Bottle mixtures, new ones, more band-aids and blister pads, but I didn't need any of that. Some aloe vera gel, which was good during put on mosquito bites and stuff. Cleaning rag, grease, more chamois cream, torque wrench. Like a lot of this stuff was for assembling the bike, like some new brake pads, some batteries for the bike alarm, Allen keys, this one for fixing the pedals, wrench, Loctite, cassette tool. These spanners I need for the absolute black chain rings. If something would have happened there, I had to reinstall these like a few days before because my crank arm broke. So I took that for just to be safe. And duct tape, the other tool that I need for the chain set. Chain breaker, another pair of brake pads, replacement cleats, and then I put, just to be on the safe side, because I was not sure how much energy I would get from the dynamo hub, I took a full power bank and put it at the halfway point. Then this would be for cleaning the water filter afterwards, and I think I need this for the cassette tool. That's it. I actually threw a lot of clothes in here, like the waterproof socks during the halfway point, and I left the gloves in there and the base layer and stuff. So it was good to have that. So that was not very short, but I think I covered everything, and I will link to blog articles in the video description where I go into more detail on some of the topics, but you can get details on everything.